Hey guys, Tom Jr. here, aka Mustached, and I'm here to review the movie The Suicide Squad. If you end up enjoying this review, then consider joining my Patreon page. That'll be the second link in the description, and if you end up enjoying this review, also consider subscribing. I'll be reminding you of the shilling at the end of the review as well. Alright, now that the shilling is out of the way, let's get into The Suicide Squad. Now, of course, there is Suicide Squad, and, well, that was a complete disaster. So, naturally, and probably one of the quickest remakes you can probably snap your fingers to and make, they decided to go ahead and try it again and give it another go with The Suicide Squad, because I guess they're really desperate for the DCEU to be like, hey, we're going to catch up to Marvel with this. So yeah, I surprisingly, even after seeing the trailers, I was going, I don't know. I don't know if this is enough, right? I don't know if this is enough to uh, stamp out, and catch up to Disney or save the DCEU in a significant way. And I'm sure in a money sense it probably will, but in terms of being objectively good, which is what we're trying to do when I'm reviewing movies, and I already fucked up a little bit with the Tomorrow War, but you know, we all have our review fuck ups once in a while, so I would say that was my more recent fuck up, but whatever. I'm trying to not be suckered in by, oh, this is directed by so and so, aka James Gunn, so it's automatically going to be good because because he made Guardians of the Galaxy, and that was good. So clearly, this must be good because it's directed by the same person. Nope, I'm here to go scene by scene, do everything by the casual. If something doesn't make sense, then I'm going to criticize it. If something is done well, then I'm going to praise it. And we're just going to go down that way. Because, again, I'm trying to be as objective as possible here. And I think that's fair, since that's what I'm trying to do a lot more often. So anyways, we start in a prison, with a long-haired man. I believe his name is Savam. And he kills a bird with some music. And I'm going to say it now, for whatever reason, this movie has way too many songs in it, just like the original movie, which is kind of annoying. Some of the songs fit, sure, whatever, fine, but it is way too many still, I feel. Anyway, as he's being recruited into the Suicide Squad, we see that he's being joined by Captain Boomerang, Javelin, Weasel, and a few others, including Harley Quinn. I mentioned Harley Quinn specifically last because obviously she's going to be, an important character. And as they are getting ready for the team that is operating, the operating team, are making bets on who's gonna live and who's gonna die, so they're wheeling and dealing back there. So, as they go on the plane to head over, they're trying to figure out what Weasel is. This is, of course, a very Guardians of the Galaxy, like, what is they call Rocket Raccoon, a bunch of other animals, so they're trying to clearly harp on that by clearly freaking out about what Weasel is. And yeah, I don't think it's as strong this time around. And the thing that we are looking at looks even freakier than than Rocket Raccoon. Anyways, they drop off on the beach, and speaking of, we see Weasel drop dead, and I'm putting that in quotes already. This is going to be a spoiler review, by the way. Uh, so, you've been spoiled, dropped, I guess. So, no, you can say, oh, spoilers, but, I'm saying it now, so, Anyway, so as we see this flop of character, a bunch of other characters die. In fact, one of the characters named Blackguard steps out and he apparently called these people over, and he's the first to get killed. I'm not exactly sure how he got access to a bunch of people on this island, question mark? It's very unclear, so we're already having a little bit of issue here. And yeah, it's gonna be something I'm gonna pop up every so often, be like, yeah, it doesn't make as much as, sense sometimes. So anyways, there's a few other characters. The detachable kid, I believe, is one of them. He gets killed. Boomerang, he unfortunately gets killed. I don't know. He was really popular in the first one. I guess they were like, fuck that. I guess he's not cool enough for a second chance, so we're just gonna fucking kill Boomerang this time around. Kill Javelin, and two others as well, whose names I completely forgot, honestly. I mean, with the Suicide Squad, it does anticipate death and, well, getting killed as a suicidal mission, but still. But luckily, who does survive is Harley Quinn and one other guy, that one in the middle, whose name, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I never wrote it down anywhere in my notes, and I'm too lazy to look it up. So I'm gonna call him the guy in the yellow shirt, because that is what he's wearing on the poster. So that's who I'm referring to when I say the guy in the yellow shirt. So he survives. As well as Harley, obviously. And then we have Team 2, who is led by Bloodsport. But before we get to too much of that, we cut to 3 days prior. So we're going to learn how this second squad has got, roped into this. So, Waller, played by the same actress from Suicide Squad, is once again here, because she is a good actress after all, and she fits the bill. Wants Bloodsport to join the Suicide Squad, and they mention in his report that he shot Superman with kryptonite, apparently, in a movie that we're probably never ever going to see, or it's probably going to be extremely disappointing and going to be set up for another movie that's going to be, whatever. So, Marvel. That. Anyway, we get a pretty intense scene as him and his daughter yell at each other, fuck a lot, fuck you a lot, and then sort of make calm a bit later on. But Waller claims that she has the potential to end up right here as well. Unfortunate. So we get his rest of the team, including Peacemaker, played by John Cena, as well as Shark, the King Shark, I should say. And I believe the name I heard was Cleo, the one that can control rats. And Polka Dot, who I think his name is like Polka, I think that's his name. Anyway, he joins as well. So she wants to erase this project called Starfish. And after she discusses that, and they have some pretty lame commentary from John Cena about butts or something. Um, we cut back to the present with their team, and we briefly see what happened to Harley Quinn, where she sees the javelin and she takes it. So during the night, as they're resting, the B team, Mr. Polka Dot Man lets his polka dots go, and Bloodshot stops King Shark from eating the Rat Girl, and Queso, Rat Girl, decides that she's gonna try to friend up King Shark. I know he has another name, but I'm just gonna keep calling him King Shark because that's essentially what it is. So yeah. Anyway. So they make their way into this encampment, this B squad, and as they make their way in, they start the killing spree, and Peacemaker and Bloodsport, during their little invasion, getting a little blood competition to see who they can kill. And they start competing, and by mistake, they end up killing this resistance group. Whoops. And the resistance leader, surprisingly takes that fairly well, as she's more enveloped in getting revenge and getting her area back, that she's willing to let that entire thing slide, I guess. Wow, that's a lot to take in, but okay. So, one of the antagonist, I can't say villain because that wouldn't make sense in this movie's context. One of the antagonists, whose name I also don't know, but he looks like a bald man with a bunch of brain stem things in his head. Well, I called in my notes the Brain Man, so I guess that's what I'll be calling him. Is the one that they have to get the intel for to get into the Starfish project. So anyways, we cut back to Harley Quinn being driven. She's not immediately killed, and she meets one of our other antagonists, who, in an odd gesture, decides that after making out and, I guess, having sex question mark, they lead to him wanting to marry her to get sway? Question mark. Apparently she's really popular there for some reason. I don't understand how that works, but I guess that's what it is. So after some wheeling and dealing in that regard, she shoots him. You know, after his little monologue about killing kids, because that is a line that even Harley Quinn won't cross. So she's doing her own speech about how that's the line that she will not cross. So the president, the other antagonist, says that he will do some claiming and taming of the USA and all the other areas. Meanwhile, Polka Dot explains his virus and how his powers work, I think, to a degree which they don't believe him all the way, fully, at least not now, until we see a bunch of his versions of his mom, because I guess that's supposed to be funny. Yeah, he killed her. So anyway, so as they're calming on the bus, riding down, the Rat Girl talks about her father and how they managed to survive through that all stuff. And in retort, Bloodsport says that he was scolded by his father and how his fear of rats that he made clear earlier in the movie, which I'm noting now, is due to his father. So anyways, the team heads to the club because the original Suicide Squad went to a club scene, remember? But this is to get the guy. So the team gets a little drunk, but they're still able to operate pretty effectively as they grab the mind brain guy after, some kerfuffling, bare minimum. Um, but another team is moving in, so they're moving the fuck out. At least some of them are. While Bloodsport, Peacemaker, and the guy in the yellow shirt all put out their hands and get arrested. So they all get pulled into a transport vehicle, and they all kill their way out as the vehicle topples over. Meanwhile, we cut back to Harley being tortured for the location of and number of people that probably came with her. She cleverly uses a 69 joke because that's always funny and nice, as we like to put it in the internet. So the team moves in, and Harley decides that she's gonna choke a dude out. This dude is huge, but she's able to lift him somehow. Don't ask me how she has that much leg muscle, but okay. She grabs the key after killing him via the check note and is able to unbind herself. She proceeds to kill the guards in a long hallway scene where they're shooting guns at her and she's splitting her blade. It's a bit of heavy plot armor as they have guns, and she has a polearm javelin. Sorry, not polearm, a javelin. That she's spinning around, and she's being shot at, but whatever. I guess it's deflecting bullets. So anyways, she meets up with Team B, who are on their way to save her. And they talk through their new potential plan to get into Project Starfish after their little kerfuffle outside. And thus, now that the team is all set in their final phase, they do the line walk in the rain, the classical superhero walk, except, villains. And even the guy that is there as a prisoner is doing the walk as well, which seems a little odd, but okay. Anyways, they make their way inside the Starfish building using his, prints and whatever. So the president and his squad move in, and once they're gone, the Freedom Squad moves into position because the leader of that still has some people somehow, I don't know. Anyway, back in the base, our little squad sees some of the Starfish people who are talking about how this brain dude did stuff to him, and how he talks about how the U.S. started this little kerfuffle, but the U.S. didn't want to take any of the credit, so they placed it over somewhere else. So the Peacemaker, wanting to finish the mission, and the guy in the yellow shirt now wanting to, after serving for as long as he has, according to him, wants to get these secrets out. He's like, fuck this shit, the US fucked up big time, gotta let it out. So the two of them get into a big fight. Meanwhile, an explosion goes off, and during that, the brain dude is pulled in by the Starfish. Whoops. Meanwhile, Peacemaker and the guy in the yellow shirt continue to fight over the chip. And Peacemaker kills the guy in the yellow shirt. And the guy in the yellow shirt manages to get out his final words even after being stabbed in the heart. I guess you can still form sentences, I suppose. So he manages to get out, Peacemaker, you're full of shit. Or something along those lines. And Cleo, aka Rat Girl, sees the drive herself and takes it and runs off with it, seeing that Peacemaker is doing the mission. So he's getting ready to kill her as he has a time and a place. But before we can get to the results of that, we cut over to our second squad because they'd split up when they were within the building. So meanwhile, moments earlier, because this movie likes to pull back a lot, we cut back to Bloodsport and King Shark and Polka Dot and I believe some other random guy that joined him, and Harley Quinn. The lot of them are setting up bombs upstairs. King Shark gets distracted by just sort of wandering off as he do, as his simple mind just sort of wanders him. He winds up seeing a bunch of fish, and he goes, haha, fish, and follows them as they follow him. And he thinks that they're all friends. Nice. So, as the others are making their way into this office-like area, Polka Dot kills these two men that kill the driver that went with them for some reason. And they sort of argue about how that guy was still with them for whatever reason. Polka Dot, being super angry that this random guy that joined him died, decides to use his polka dots to ensue his polka dots at these incoming guys, and it just so happens to be in the direct line of fire of the bombs that they dropped behind as they were being fired upon. So that is what let the building explode preemptively. And during this little escapade, the little area that the King Shark is in gets the glass broken, and he gets attacked by the fishy things. I don't even know what they are, honestly. But they're attacking him. So he ends up falling down a height that would probably kill a normal human, but he's a shark, so he's fine, I guess. And Harley manages to pull up Bloodshot, even though they're being shot at from the ground by the men. King Shark gets up and fights back, and none of them, they sort of stop firing, and that allows King Shark to eat the commander guy. And so they're sort of backing up. Meanwhile, Bloodshot lands in a precarious situation as he sort of drops down and keeps dropping down on floor after floor after floor. And he ends up eventually landing, oh so conveniently, probably the most convenient this movie could possibly ever get, right where Peacemaker is. And I'm gonna say it, as it looks in the movie, Bloodshot kills Peacemaker. For all intents and purposes, fuck that extra credit scene at the end of the movie. Fuck you, the Suicide Squad, for doing that. Because that doesn't make any fucking sense. He was clearly shot in a way that would kill Peacemaker. Fuck off. Anyway, so Bloodshot is all fine and dandy, and King Shark is fighting back. And, they're doing the stuff. So while all that's going on, the freedom fighters are also fighting their way further in, and they get their land back, or, their freedom back, or whatever they were doing. Anyway, so, now that that is all taken care of, the Starfish Project, which is a literal starfish, and a gigantic pink-looking one at that, and blue, moves in, and the team are like, no, we don't have to deal with this. Waller said our mission was done. We could just leave. Fuck this shit, we're out. However, out of the lot of them, Bloodshot has a sense of conscience as they hear the screams of the innocents being heard in the distance as the squid starfish did its droppings of mini starfish that allows it to take over people and communicate through people. It takes over every other military guy and misses every person that's a part of the Suicide Squad, so that's super convenient. And yeah, so my notes. So they decide, fuck that shit, we're gonna abandon the protocol, we're gonna take this thing down. So, right before Waller is about to kill Bloodshot, some random woman who somehow knew that Waller was about to press the button swings at her, question mark? I'm gonna say that's a bit of huge plot armor for Bloodsport there. I don't know how she would have known that was about to happen. She wasn't in the room as far as I could tell. So, there's another one for you. They are able to continue their attack Starfish. Polka Dot starts his attack. King Shark starts his attack. However, during Polka Dot's attack, he is squashed by the starfish to the death. So that is our last death in the movie, as far as I'm aware of. As Bloodshot manages to save Rat Girl just in the nick of time, and she raises a orb mechanism that makes all the rats come, and I mean all of the rats in the area, and start to swarm starfish. Meanwhile, Harley Quinn has been making her way up with a javelin still in hand. She jumps quite a huge distance. I don't think that it seemed a little bit bigger, but whatever. She manages to make it anyway. Into the starfish, which seems to be inside of it like a water thing. As the rats also make their way inside as they're crawling up as well, and eventually the starfish lets out its final longing of not ever wanting to be here. And I will say, as an added thing before I completely neglect to mention it, because it did seem like its wanting to take over the town is just something that it suddenly wants. Again, okay. So yeah. Anyway, the rats come in, Harley comes in, and meanwhile, on the news, after their success as the starfish falls to the ground dead, the daughter sees it on the news, and she's like, "That's my dad." And thus, with Bloodshot, with the chip in hand, makes a deal with Waller, saying that he will keep it on him and keep it a secret as long as him and her are gonna be all fine and good. Thumbs up all around. The remaining 4 characters leave. That being Bloodsport, Harley Quinn, the Man in Yellow. No, not the Man in Yellow. Sorry. Those 2, Rat Girl and King Shark are the 4 that remaining that leave as the Suicide Squad. And as we are about to wrap everything up, we cut back to the beach. We cut back to the weasel. And the weasel starts breathing again. It coughs up the water at that point and just starts wandering. So that whole thing was a fake out to do a reveal that it was alive the whole time. Okay. That one's a bit weird, but okay. So yeah, after that one, and after the credits, they have an after credits sequence, as I alluded to before, where people that worked for Waller, that weren't a part of the Suicide Squad, the ones that were wheeling and dealing, somehow bring in John Cena's character Peacemaker alive, even though he was shot in the neck to death. He somehow survived, allowing us the potential the Suicide Squad 2. And all I can say is, fuck you. That's not how that should work. That's not how you leave a character to be dead and then be like, nah, John Cena's a popular guy, we'll keep him around. Nah. I'm not a fan of that. It definitely drops the movie a little bit. I don't remember what I gave Suicide Squad as a score. I think I gave it like a 3 or a 4 out of 10, or a 2 out of 10. I don't remember. It's been way too long. I'm gonna give this movie a 5 out of 10, or a 6. At most, I can give it a 6. It has quite a few issues here still. Plot armor, plot convenience, things of that nature, sequel baiting that just is... The sequel baiting doesn't even fucking make sense, which is actually... I actually don't mind sequel baiting anymore. I stopped caring for sequel baiting. It's like, whatever. But this one is just like, but he died. Why are you doing this? Why? It doesn't make any logical sense to sequel bait with that. So that's another fuck up, and I'm counting it as part as, why I want to drop it to, keep it like a 5 out of 10, I want to say. So yeah, I don't think the Suicide Squad is that much better than Suicide Squad, honestly. Which is disappointing. I think that this is a little bit of a waste, a little bit of a letdown. I thought this was going to be the big thing. Everyone's, off a little bit like, oh, James Gunn's going to save us. But it's like, I don't know about that. And this movie, I don't feel like it proved itself. I don't feel like the writing was strong enough. I don't feel like, there's just a little bit too much still lackluster in this movie to fully commit to be like, yeah, I could see the Suicide Squad going for another round, sure. I don't feel that at all, and I feel like there's a little bit of getting duped in this movie as well for that, because this is their second attempt at doing this. This is like, doing a Fantastic Four movie again, except they waited a while, except this one seems like, I forget when Suicide Squad came out. It's probably been a few years, right? So, like, between that and, another Fantastic Four, it feels like that, except the second Fantastic Four movie was worse than its original. This one feels slightly better than this, Suicide Squad, but not by a significant margin better than Suicide Squad. So that is my review of The Suicide Squad, and if you ended up enjoying it, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my Patreon page, and the other will lead you over to my Discord. The second will lead you over to my Patreon page. Any donations are desperately needed, and if you ended up enjoying this review, then consider subscribing. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.